Hi, my name is Marcel Cadente from Midwifery. Normative ethics is relating to a standard or done which is normal. It is relating to or prescribing a norm or standards, establishing a norm or standards now to safety of behavior. Normative generally means relating to an evaluated standard. Normativity is a phenomenon in human societies or designating some action or outcome as good or desirable or permissible and other as bad or undesirable or impermissible. In most contexts, normative means relating to an evaluation or value judgment. Example statements include: women should be provided higher school loans than men. Laborers should receive greater parts of capitalist profits, and working citizens should not pay for hospital care. Normative economic statements typically contain keywords such as should and ought.
Hi, good day everyone. I'm Wendy De Castro from BS Midwifery, and I gave a chance to choose one among of the major area of ethics, and there's a lot of major area in the ethics, and I choose the comparative ethics, or also called the descriptive ethics. This is also the empirical observational. This study is more on the moral and beliefs and practices of different peoples and cultures in various places and times. My example for this is, it is wrong to kill people just because they make you angry. Sometimes it happens. We should fight to free slaves when necessary, even doing something illegal. We should need to give them a chance, and that's the comparative. And that's what I learned from comparative ethics. Thank you. Next.
Hi guys, I'm Samantha Liani Flores from BSN Midwifery. Today, I will discuss one of the major areas of ethics, the meta-ethics. Meta-ethics is a branch of analytic philosophy that explores status, foundations, and scope of moral values, properties, words, whereas the fields of applied ethics and normative theory focuses on what morality itself is. Example, the truth of mankind ideas can be ascertained only by self-examination, by looking into ourselves to judge our behaviors, thought, and passions, which is the basis of all actions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Micah Inyan from Radiologic Technology Program, and now I'm going to discuss one of the major areas of ethics called the normative ethics. It includes the formulations of moral rules that have direct implications for what human actions, institutions, and ways of life should be like. It is typically contrasted with the theoretical ethics or meta-ethics, which is concerned with the nature rather than the content of ethical theories and moral judgments, and applied ethics or the application of normative ethics to practical problems. For example, happiness or pleasure and wrong if it tends to produce unhappiness or pain, not just for the performer of the action, but also for everyone else affected by it, called utilitarianism.
I'm Ritaza Maxim Escalante and I will explain the descriptive ethics. Descriptive ethics is about what motivates pro-social behavior, how people reason about ethics, what people believe to an overriding importance, and how societies regulate behavior. We know that empathy helps motivate pro-social behavior, and we know that our beliefs about what has overriding importance is somewhat based on the culture we lived in. Example might be acting selflessly to help others in an emergency, or the Boy Scout leading an elderly person across the street. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Angelica Pingul from BS Midwifery. Applied ethics is one of the major areas in ethics. This examines moral problems as encountered in experience by ordinary people rather than as viewed from normative or meta-ethical theories. It is practical rather than theoretical. So one example of this is abortion. The abortion debate asks whether it can be morally right to terminate a pregnancy before normal childbirth. Some think that abortion is always wrong, and some think that abortion is right when the mother's life is at risk, while others think that there is a range of situations in which abortion is morally acceptable. So that is applied ethics.
ถ้าชิมพีฟีทุกปรับพิรัติมัน Future ethics. The person rather than action. Peace. It looks at the virtue or moral character of the person carrying out an action, rather than at ethical duties and rules or the consequences of particular nations. A good person is someone who lives virtuously, who possesses and lives the virtues. Virtue ethics approach to the ethics that takes the notion of virtue of it conceived as excellent, as fundamental. For example, of virtue ethics: honesty, courage, compassion, generosity, fidelity, integrity, fairness, self-control, and prudence. For example, a person who has developed the virtue of generosity is often referred to as a generous person because he or she tends to be generous in all circumstances.
Hi, good evening. My name is Maria Katrina Yomol from BS Midwifery 1. I will going to discuss one of the major areas in ethics, and that is metaethics. Metaethics is the subdiscipline of ethics concerned with the nature of ethical theories and moral judgments. It has four major metaethical theories, including intentionism, emotivism, cognitivism, and prescriptivism. First, I will discuss the cognitivism. Cognitivism holds that ethical sentences do express propositions that it can be true or false. For example, that Mary is a good person, or that stealing and lying are always wrong. Derivatively, cognitivism or realism would say that ethical sentences themselves are either true or false. Second, intuitionism. Intuitionism is a doctrine that objects of perception is intuitively known to be real. A doctrine that there are basic truths intuitively known, and a doctrine that right or wrong or fundamental principles about what is right and wrong. For example, whereas Moore thought that it is self-evident that certain things are morally valuable, Ross thought that we know immediately that it is our duty to do acts of a certain type. I have a trivia about the intuitionism. The idea was popularized by American philosopher Michael Humer in his 2005 book Ethical Intuitionism. Third, the emotivism. Emotivism denied that moral utterance are cognitive, holding that they consist in emotional expressions of approval or disapproval, and that the nature of moral reasoning and justification must be reinterpreted to take this essential characteristic of moral utterance into account. For example, when one subjectivist say lying is bad, they are giving the information that they disapprove of lying. If another subjectivist says lying is good, they are giving the information that they are for approve of lying. And lastly is prescriptivism. Prescriptivism takes a somewhat similar approach, arguing that moral judgments are prescriptions or prohibitions of action, rather than statements of fact about the world. For example, prescriptivist attitudes are the condemnation of proposition, stranding, and of the split infinitive, and a demand of its I in place of the normal it's me.
Good day, everyone. I'm Trisha Flores from Midwifery Department, and today I'll share the definition and an example of virtue ethics. So, virtue ethics, rather than attempting to define goodness or rightness, virtue ethics focuses on the development of character. So, for example, when confronted with a physical threat, it is virtuous to be brave. It is, even so, a vice if you are overly eager to fight, as well as a vice if you are too afraid to fight when it is necessary. So that is not to say that outcomes or principles are unimportant. Rather, we are more interested in how the action taken might into a person's life story. As a result, many critics of virtue ethics are frustrated by our refusal to provide neat solutions to ethical problems. This is one of the more appealing aspects of the approach, in my own opinion. Thank you. We hope that you've learned something about major areas of ethics. Again, this is from Midwifery Department. Thank you so much for listening.